Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another event for Just Getting Started January, where we interview game studios and other creators who are just getting started with their projects. Tonight, we've got our sponsor, Next Level Improv, who was kind enough to contribute some board games for the convention that we were planning on giving away, and we still will be giving some away in the future, so that's exciting. But we wanted to bring them back to talk about, kind of updates and progress, because developing a game is not just obviously it's not an overnight thing, although there is the South Bend Gamer Jam that does it in 48 hours. They develop kind of mini games, and that's neat. But it's a process, and tonight we're going to walk through what turning improv as an activity into a card game looks like here with Julie. So without further ado, I'll let Julie tell you a little bit about Next Level Improv and also the card game Improv Against Normality.
Well, thank you, Brian. I'm so excited to be back here. I love what you're doing, and I love how you are connecting gamers from all over and all different kinds of games, too. So, happy to be back on your show and sharing kind of where we're at. Like, what does it look like? The first year was a bit of a whirlwind. My company is Next Level Improv, and it kind of emerged out of necessity. I had someone come to me wanting to use improv for a rehabilitation and recovery center down in Delray Beach, Florida, because it just helped people feel better. And so how appropriate that we're in the world we're in now. And the game is kind of coming back into people's minds and being more top of mind, because who doesn't want to laugh a little bit and feel a little bit better? So,
Absolutely.
And connect. Oh my gosh, connection is so important right now. And that was part of our initial vision with the game. So the game came out of wanting its improv against normality, which how appropriate now when we have this new normal.
Right.
What does normal even mean? Why be normal? Don't do it. Don't do it. So how can we stretch beyond what normal is these days? So that's kind of like the big, huge vision, is like just bringing joy into people's lives. And then the game is a deliverable, how it's like a specific, tangible way to actually do that. I think improv can be kind of an esoteric, like soft skill. I work with a lot of corporations, and they're like, well, what's my ROI? I'm like, I don't know. What is your ROI when you just feel better and you have some joy in your life? You tell me what that's worth to you. So it's great to actually be like, here, play this game, and let's see how you feel, how you do. So anyway, I know you have some like more organized questions. I can talk in circles. Oh, you're muted.
Yep, I just noticed that. I was like, I'm not hearing. I have an echo in my headset, so I was like, not hearing it. Where'd I go? No, I think it's great. I mean, it's great to hear the backstory a little bit of, kind of how it started and everything. So you said it started in Florida. How many years then have you been doing Next Level Improv on its own? And then what kind of started the fire behind the game? Like, what was there, like a night where you're just like, this would be a cool game, or did you like talk over some friends and like, wow? So what kind of started the fire to turn the organization into the game?
Yes, great question. The organization started in 2015, and the game came about through a meditation. Actually, I was meditating. I had been taking some entrepreneurial leadership training courses and applying improv in that field, and had used like some just basic cards and there's games in improv, as Carlos might tell you here in a little bit when he jumps on, but where we actually get audience suggestions and they write them down. And I was like, well, it'd be easy if you could just have the cards already. So yeah, the game came through in a meditation, and I literally, the next day, it was November 22nd in 2018, and I came out of meditation, I opened an Excel document, and I literally wrote out hundreds and hundreds of card categories. And I was like, well, I can't start there. I need to like narrow the scope. So I just picked the five basics, like the pillars of storytelling. What do we teach when people are just getting started in improv? And it's like who, what, where, why. Those are the basic, of any storytelling. So those were the cards I started with. And then I had a mastermind group I was working with of entrepreneurs. And initially I had the cards like, oh gosh, I wish I had them with me, but I had printed them out like just in a Word, like on a white sheet of paper, and I cut them all up. But it was kind of like a Trivial Pursuit game where
Mm-hmm.
it was like all these different categories. So I had all of those on one card. So
Mm.
it's like you could, and they had different colors next to them. And when I brought it to my mastermind group, they're like, "That is way too complicated."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Make it simpler." And so I was like, "All right, cool. Well, what if I just made a card for each one of those things?" And that's what I ended up doing, and then publishing it. I had amazing people that a graphic designer that worked with me to help me kind of take the Next Level logo and adapt it,
Mm-hmm.
we liked primary colors. And anyway, it was a fun process for sure. And it took me over a year. I did a 30 city national tour to like market research. Do the directions work? Do they make sense? I didn't tell anybody anything. I was just like, I put up on, thank goodness for social media. Like I could
Right.
put up on Facebook. I'll be like, I'm driving through this town in the next 2 days. Who would like to play with me? And I would
Mm-hmm.
get these random people that weren't even improvisers necessarily. I only worked with like 2 improv troupes all over the country. Yeah, and it was amazing to hear people's feedback. Everybody had a great time. There were probably like 20% of people that didn't get the game. They're like, wait a second, why are we playing this game? Just to have fun? Why would I do that?
Yeah.
And those are my analyzers. I love them. So they
Mm-hmm.
help me actually come up with a rubric. If you go online to our website, improvagainstnormality.com, go into the frequently asked questions, and you can find scoring. There's a scorecard in there. And that was developed by the people on the road that
Mm-hmm.
needed to win. They're funny. So that was
Yeah,
fun.
that's great. No, and there's a lot to take out from that, but one thing I did want to pick out is that you literally said just getting started, and I think besides the fact that that's the name of our showcase series right now, I think that's a really appropriate way to look at the whole thing, right? From the process, there's we'll look at the process in a little bit too again, but um, you know, just getting started with that process, you to take the time to reflect, so meditating, on what is possible and everything, and then taking a step to design the game by putting that Excel sheet together. So there's a lot of things to for people to learn from that, right? Because it is a process. It's thinking about the idea. It's drafting it out, and it's practicing it. Like, because something might, like, you thought it was a good idea. I would assume, like, you wouldn't do something if you didn't think it's a good idea. But then you're able to refine it so that more people see it as a good idea, right? Maybe they did understand it, but they also understand that it's, like you said, it's a little complicated for them. So uh, someone's initial take might be this is overwhelming and they don't have the patience to learn it, whereas maybe they would really love improv if it was more approachable to them. So this is really taking something that is improv can be very high level, the references and the stuff you do, if you want to take it that way, but you've broken it down into these steps and made it very approachable for people. And I think that's the magic of games, is that we can connect to something higher level, whether it's an idea, whether it's a person, whether it's a practice. We can see it kind of broken down, and obviously video games, depending on what their genre is, are unrealistic on many levels. But this one breaks it down into a very realistic level, and we can apply it outside of the game, even, right? Um,
Yeah, totally. Yes. I mean, that was why the next level piece came in. It's like, how do we
mm-hmm,
actually, because I have a belief system that improv is life, and
mm-hmm,
that we've been improvising our whole lives. We didn't have a script when we woke up today. We're literally making all of this up as we go.
mm-hmm,
So I like to give it to people that they're already great at this. And a lot of people are like, oh, I could never do that. I'm like, well, you're doing it right now. You're
mm-hmm,
actually already doing it. So yeah, to use something as simple as play
mm-hmm.
as permission to shift people's paradigm, that life doesn't have to be hard.
Absolutely, and it definitely is. I was going to say that too. Is it definitely feels like kind of a shift in giving people. You are giving people access to the controls, so that they can shift gears on something and something. So let's talk about the game itself a little bit then in a little more detail, and then we'll dive into a game and kind of show people what it's all about. But how many? So you talked about the categories of storytelling, right? So how many categories of cards do you have?
In this version of the game, I have
Mm,
5.
five. Okay.
In the Excel sheet on my computer,
Mm,
I have 20 more iterations of the game that
Okay.
will are once the proof of concept has really taken off, then I can
Mm-hmm.
come out with different
Expansions.
versions. Yes, exactly. Expansion
Awesome.
decks. So for now, there's 5, and
Okay.
there's a scenario card that someone that's playing the role of, say, the director of the scene, or if you were doing a live improv show, this would be like, whose line is it anyway? This would be the Drew
Mm-hmm.
Carey of the show, the host, right? So the MC. You pull a scenario card, and that sets up the scene for the actor. So this one I pulled is you're running for school board.
Oh.
That's kind of appropriate on inauguration day. I mean, there's elections of all kinds.
Right. Exactly.
So that's a scenario. It just kind of like sets the scene. And there's 100 of each card in this game. So then you have the who, the what, the where, the why. And those would be kind of some of the most common gets in basic improv. Like, who are these people to each other? How do they know each other? Where are they? Where does the scene take place? What just happened? Or what's like the inciting incident? Or what, like, what's all the shooting for? Why are we watching? Why today? Why now? And then sometimes we just get an object that one of the actors can be manipulating to just give them a jumping off point. So there's 100 of each of those cards too.
That's awesome. And so in that light, the scenario is kind of your map, right? And then you apply the other cards to the map. And then since this is not just a card game, it's a role-playing game, right?
That's right. It's like LARPing, yeah. Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. So
without all the garb, you don't have to come in costume because
right?
you might change characters.
Imagination. I love it. But I think it's neat, and it's really important to touch on that too, because one of our opening acts for the series was a game that people are very familiar with board games, or they're familiar with card games, and traditional game media, if you will. Those are very simple and approachable. So our first game was a miniatures, and they combined board games, a simple platform media, with miniatures, which is very much like role playing and stuff like that. You get into the characters, and you instead of living it through yourself, you live it through the miniature, right?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
There's an improv game like that too.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know, Carlos, I don't know what you call it, but it's like zoom in, zoom out, right? Like it's so you could, like, if you're having a really impassioned moment, if you and I were either gonna like fight or we were gonna kiss, we'd be like, zoom out, and then we could play the characters like this, like bam, 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 bam.
That's awesome. But yeah, and you have these combination of mediums, right? So you have the board game and the miniatures. And so the board game teaches you how to do the role playing into the miniatures. And so the miniatures, now you're doing the living out through the miniatures. And in this game, you're taking an approachable card game where, like, typically you're trying to match the, setting the settings, place and things and the other cards to the scenario. And so if you explain that to a card game person, they'd be like, oh, light bulb, right? But you tell them, like, go act out a scene, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. And so, again, it's merging two things that might not traditionally, like acting and role-playing, into a card game. And so I think that's beautiful. So without further ado, why don't we bring on our other guests, and you can introduce them, Julie, and then I will transition us over to our gameplay scene here.
Well, Carlos and Josh come on camera for us. They've been here all along, hiding in the wings, offset. I love it. Now, Carlos was actually with me when I took the game to the Chicago Toy and Game, the Chi Tag convention in Chicago, where we actually had a booth. And oh yeah, Josh has got his too. I love it. So Carlos has been on this journey with me for a bit, and then Josh has joined. And so Carlos is in Chicago, fellow improviser friend of mine who I performed down in Miami with for years. We go way back, and then he's brilliant. We'll tell you more about him later. And Josh is a new friend that found the game online and started playing with his theater group up in Connecticut, the Remnants Recording and Entertainment. So they've done some shows. They've actually this is like the next iteration of Improv Against Normality, and Carlos will be a part of this too. We're actually workshopping a game show version of it. So the Remnants already did a version, their take on it, which was kind of like a guessing game version. That's the great thing about improv, is you can literally do anything you want with the game. We're going to show you kind of how the game was intended. But if you go to Josh's YouTube, the Remnants YouTube, Remrec, it's the Remnants, right? Is the YouTube. You can see how they played it, where it was a guessing game. So it's really fun. without further ado, then we'll pull a card, a scenario card. Do you want to play too, Brian?
Sure.
Okay. So
I'll show the audience what it's like to be a rookie.
yes.
Anyone
See,
can do it, even
that's
the
right.
even the
You've been
host.
doing it your whole life, right? Okay. So I'll pull a card, and the gentlemen, they have their own deck, so they can pull. This is a game that can translate virtually. Carlos, do you have your second? Is your desktop on audio as well? Is there a way you can mute that?
No.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Well, if you like, I could pull a card for everyone. You only need one game to play this virtually with people. And I would literally pull, I could pull the scenario card. You're performing a makeover for a friend. That's what you guys are going to be doing. And then you could tell me what color card what kind of card you wanted to play out. Typically, the game is played where you draw one of each card. Because in a live show, the audience is going to give us multiple suggestions as the actors, and the MC or the director would be hearing multiple options, right? So we're kind of recreating that feeling. Okay, this is like we heard 4 different suggestions from the audience, and I'm just going to pick one because again, keep it simple to start.
Mhm.
If I was working and really like masterclass level in a drama, school or something like that, I might layer in, let's do 1 and then let's add 2 and then let's add 3 and then how can we juggle? Because we do that in plays. We have a script where there's a background to the character and all of that. So we don't start there though. Start with 1. Pick one card that you would have the most fun playing out if you were giving a makeover to a friend. Okay. So I have 4 cards here, Brian, and the gentleman will pick their favorite card of what they've selected. And then you'll tell me what color card you want me to pick for you, or what category of card. Who, what, where, why.
We'll do who.
Fantastic. Oh no, that's not the who, that's the why. Okay, so then you would all hand your cards to me. This is different than the way the Remnants played it. So you're going to hand your card to me by just showing the camera what card you selected. So you picked Batman,
Oh,
Brian.
perfect.
Josh, Carlos, what do you have? A little bit closer. Balloons and aircraft pilot. I love it. Fantastic. So a makeover for a friend. Oh my gosh. I feel like I want all 3 of you. So I'm going to have all 3 of you play this out. Okay. So someone is performing a makeover for a friend, or 2 on 1, or however you guys decide it. Batman, balloons. Here's the thing too, and this is in kind of the instructions, if you will, and I have instructional videos that are links inside the instructions that you can watch too for people that have never done improv. In improv, you're saying yes to the suggestions. So whatever the thing is, you are responsible for bringing it to the scene. Doesn't mean that you are it, you're influenced by it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The next piece is your job is to make your scene partners look amazing. So in order to do that, you need to know what their thing is too, so you can help them tell their story, right? So that's where, like, if you know that Carlos has balloons, then as you interact with him with whatever your Batman influence is, you would be somehow setting him up to win in his balloon lifestyle, right? Whatever that means, whether he's holding balloons or in a hot air balloon, we don't really know. And then we know that we have an aircraft pilot. Is that right? Aircraft pilot. Fantastic, right? Like that just sounds like something Batman would need to be involved in. Somebody's performing a makeover for a friend. I don't know what you guys are going to do, but as you know what each other are up to, you can help each other along in telling the story and set each other up to win. The whole point is to have fun. We're not going to score this round. So action.
A lot of people in the city, Batman, a lot of them think you're a little too dark, too gritty. They want a lighter hero, like the guy from Metropolis. Maybe we can work on your look?
Well, I was actually looking for some Batloons for a birthday party. My niece, she's turning 16, so I thought she might need some balloons. But of course, they need to be Batloons.
Batloons? Okay.
Batloons.
I think we can do something. I have to get them shipped, though. We can get them shipped here?
That's okay. How much is the shipping?
Well, Batman. I mean, it's a little expensive. I mean, it's not like you have Bruce Wayne money. Am I right?
You know,
So
let me
maybe
just reach out to my pilot friend here and see what I can if I can help you with that shipping.
Yeah, so I think we can make some kind of deal here. I'll make a trade with you. If you lighten up a little bit, I think we can take that puppy in for a landing and bring it right back over there and get it shipped right where you need to. But I'll tell you what, if you lighten yourself up a little bit, and maybe if you can do something with that flight thing that other guy has going on, because he really does a good job with that. Everybody really likes that image. I think we can make it work for you. If you do that, I'll help you out with the balloons.
I've got a jetpack. Does that count?
I love it. Yay! Way to go. Awesome job, you guys. Perfect. You nailed it. That's exactly how I intended it to be. What's great about this too is that, like, I mean, because there's 500 different cards, and every single human, even if the two guys at their own homes with their own deck had pulled the same one, if you all had pulled Batman, it would have been the best scene ever.
I thought Carlos pulled Batman at first, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna get interesting."
He was pimping you up for Batman.
Uh-huh.
He was. So that's that's great. So so really, there's like so many different iterations, like all of the exponential versions of how every single human play their imagination's version of what just went down. It's like there's so many. It could just endless play. But well done. So if we were scoring, which I don't have a scorecard with me, I'd have to download it. We would be scoring based on 3 points. Comedy happens in threes, so I liked to pick 3 things. And it also helped to break ties when I was on the road. so there's 3 rubric that we measure by. One, and since it was normality, right? Like what was the answer to the universe is 42, right? What was the book that's from that actually they made a movie out of?
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Thank you. They used the phrase normality in that, which my graphic designer pointed out to me. So improv against normality. So you're guarding, or you're garnishing points based on hilarity, connectivity, and quality. So they all have itties on the end of them, little itty bitties on the end of them. But it's basically how funny are you, how connected, how well do you guys work together? So Brian, I would probably give you the point for connectivity on that because you brought Josh in, right? Hilarity. I mean, I both of the boys were mentioning lightening up, so I love that they yes-anded that too. That was really, really well done. So yeah, so you could award points for quality. So this was something that came up for me because I'm actually not very funny. I'm a professional improviser, but I usually play the straight man because I'm really good at setting up other people. And people were getting frustrated because they couldn't give me points for being funny, and they weren't giving me points for being connected. They were like, how do we give you points, Julie? So I made a way for them to give me points, and that was the quality point.
That's awesome.
Anyway, thanks for playing, guys. Yay!
For sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you go ahead.
Now Josh has another way that he plays. Josh, do you want to tee up the way that you were playing it? Maybe you direct us.
Yeah, so it's very, very similar. The only real difference that we have when we play on our little show version at our studio here, we do it so as we play through the scene, we don't know who has what card, and we kind of make it our mission to figure out who has what as we go through the scene. That might be a little more difficult with an online setting because you guys are all going to see what I hold up to the screen here, but we could try to figure it out, I'm sure.
Well, if you were to put the scene up so we know what the scene is, and then we can pull a card and not share it with you.
That sounds good. Let's do
Then
it.
you'll be the one, we'll all be guessing. None of us will know what each other has. So, and then you let us know if you want just 2 people playing that. Or...
Josh and I can be the judges.
Okay.
And it would work perfectly. Well.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Awesome. So Josh and I will go off video. Oh, after he shares his card.
Yes.
Yep. So our scenario is going to be: you are receiving an award.
Oh, how appropriate. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh yeah, we can show each other. So the card colors are an indication of at least what category are we judging towards. And so the white card is like a want, that's like the why card or a secret that somebody has, and the yellow card is an object or an activity card. Okay, so now I know as I'm working with him, one of us is receiving an award, or maybe we both are, and he has a why and I have a what.
And the scenario is an award ceremony?
Receiving an award, I think. Or was it an award ceremony?
All right.
That's correct. You are receiving an award.
Receiving an award. Okay. Oh my God, I did it! I did it! It's the prettiest it's been! I made my bed all by myself!
Sure did. You got, and here you go. Here's your award. There it is. Yeah. You know, it's nice when nice things happen to you. Maybe this is the time when you express, regret, maybe. If you have any, express them maybe.
Moms, you're the best mom ever. You taught me how to make my bed and tuck the corners in military style. This award is because of you. I am so sorry for all the times that I told you I wasn't going to clean my room because of you.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I thank you for finally saying that, because I don't think you've ever said those words before to me, ever. So thank you for admitting that you're not perfect.
Oh, no, I'm your daughter.
Are you
but
saying
look, there's not dirt anywhere, nowhere. You could search this high and low. Oh my goodness. And well, wait, hang on. Let me just, there's a little bit over here. I'm just gonna, hold on. I know I already received the award for this, but I just want to make sure I move this. I'm gonna sweeping it under there, under the rug.
I
Sorry.
did high and low.
Sorry.
And I found a little baggie of something, and I don't think it's paprika. And I told you this is a house where we don't have little baggies of paprika. So I think you need to tell me something else right now.
All right, and that is time, guys. Did you want to try to take a guess at what you were?
Carlos wanted an apology.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying someone. I was gonna say someone who was holding a grudge or something like that, but needing that acknowledgement. So I was
And what about me?
and then you, I'll let Carlos go first.
Oh, sorry, boot camp or something? Clean freak boot camp?
You're
getting warmer.
I was thinking like high-strung sorority sister or something like that.
Great. Nope, not quite.
Oh.
I was cleaning my room.
Oh.
Ah!
I should have been cleaning more. I pretended it was already clean. But clearly, I left the paprika bag out.
Uh-oh.
A thorough searcher. Thorough searching mom.
That's
Wait,
right.
so which cards did you two have again? Carlos had a why, want. Okay, object activity. Okay. Gotcha.
Luckily, it's not perfect, and I love Josh's. I watched their show that they had done. And it was great because it's like sometimes you just don't get it, so nobody gets the point at that. Like that's the fun part is, and that's the challenge for us as actors. So I knew right away as soon as Carlos, even though he was giving me an award, he made it known. So subtlety is not necessarily rewarded in improv because we want to be able to help each other out. So the more obvious we can be, the more because the audience didn't know what we were in on either. They would. In Josh's version, he has it he shares it with the audience in text across the screen, so they know what's going on. It's always more fun when the audience is in on the joke, because then they're like, oh, I see what they did. They did the thing to let the person know about the thing. We have guessing games in short form improv games a lot, where we have to try to guess what their job is, or there's a party quirks game you've probably seen on Whose Line Is It Anyway, where people come in and they have a tick or a habit or something like that, and trying to guess what the audience determines what that is, which is what the cards would simulate. So everybody knows ahead of time before the actors come in what they're actually doing.
They're endowed with something, an endowment game.
Yes.
The subtlety might be rewarded at least in audience reaction though, because if they know, then they will be there to pick up on those subtleties. So
yes.
It'll just be harder for like the judges and such.
Yeah. Yep.
For sure. So, do we want to do one more game before we kind of dive into some of the other detailed questions?
Yes.
I'd love to see you three go at it.
Okay. So then you'll be our director. So you'll say action.
Alrighty.
All right. So here's the card that you pulled for us, the scenario card.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there's 3 R's in that one. Marriage proposal gone wrong. Okay. So then we'll pull one of each of the cards and determine. Ooh. That one's fun. I'm probably going to have to do that one. Yeah, I'm doing that one. Okay. So we'll share these with you, and then you can decide who, if you want all 3 of us in it, we can be, but we don't have to be.
Alrighty.
Aw. Okay. So you can let us know who you'd like in the marriage proposal gone wrong.
All 3.
Okay. And so let's, I want someone to mother me is Carlos. Attracted to bugs is Josh. Fantastic.
Okay, this is the perfect time. She won't expect it. All right, so just jump in there and ask her, and it's going to be beautiful. And then later on, you can hold me and tell me how much love you both feel, so that I can experience the love from you.
All right, I'm on it. Julie, it's been a while. Oh my God.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. I thought I felt a mosquito or something. I was just really.
There was a mosquito? Where? Did it fly past you?
I felt something just on my face or something.
Oh. Oh, I see. Huh. You know, I had this ring for you, but if you can just hold out that mosquito for me, I'd actually like to. It's been fun, Julie. I've really had a great time with you. But that mosquito, we really just hit it off. I don't know if you felt the same connection, but the 2 of us, oh man, the amount of legs alone.
Hey, what? Are you leaving me for a mosquito? Is that what's happening?
So it doesn't just have to be the mosquito. I did meet a spider the other day that really looked at me, and we just connected. You know, I kind of am just dating around right now. I'm not really sure yet.
Are there any other insects you're colluding with over there?
Oh well, there's a couple, but I don't really talk about the centipede.
Timmy, you get to your room, young man. Mommy's about to go a little haywire here, okay?
I don't feel safe right now.
I want you to go to your room and be safe. Okay, come here, Timmy. Give me a little hug. All right, Walter. I have something to tell you. Give me a hug. Bring it in, Timmy. Bring it in. Mommy loves you. That's right. And that's my baby. That's my baby boy. I love you. Okay. Now, Timmy, you just come and roll behind me. Roll behind me. All right.
Fly.
Walter, hold very, very still. There is a huge spider behind you, and I have been hunting this guy for months. Wait.
I
am taking him down tonight.
That's Julie 2.
What?
Julie 2.0. You can't get rid of her.
And action. We'll leave the audience in suspense. They will never know what happened to Julie 2.0.
He's falling apart.
Did she live or did she not?
Never know.
I was under the covers. Get it? I was under the covers. Anyway.
I thought that was great. I didn't notice I didn't pick up on it at first, but you said mosquito. And so it took me a second to realize, oh, you're bringing it back, like you're bringing Josh into that thing. And then I like how you brought in Carlos there at the end again, too, and gave him a name.
Yes.
So Carlos did a great job acting in the back scenes while you two were having a head-to-head. So that was great.
I just want to feel.
Yeah. Aw. It's important to feel safe. That's great. Thanks for picking up on my bugs there. Thanks for.
The wrong guy. Wrong guy.
Oh, it's so fun. Yeah. Thanks for playing, Brian, and for inviting us on and sharing with your audience. I mean, I would share with them too. And I'd love to open it up for you gentlemen, because I know you both have your respective theaters that you work for, and you have started many projects that might not be necessarily a game, but since we're all in the world of theater and improv, we gamify a lot of things. Any experience you have with just getting started with a new project or a new game idea?
Well, you know, I just worked with a podcast. It's called the Daylight Savings Time podcast, and it's like a spoof on the Twilight Zone. They're very short. They're like 10-minute radio plays, and I've done some voice work for them. And you can find it on Facebook, and it's just facebook.com/Daylight Savings Time podcast. So you can there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and our theater itself has been really a startup project from day one here, which has been something that's pretty interesting. We've done a lot of it virtually and through our website is how we've been going about things instead of live action. So we have a bunch of stuff, including an episode of this game up on our website to check out. That's remnantsrecordings.com.
That's awesome. Okay. Thanks for sharing.
And I will say, as far as the getting started with a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo process, that was part. I don't know if any of your viewers are thinking of doing something like that themselves, but it is a very thorough process, and they're both sites. I looked at both of them, Indiegogo and Kickstarter. Both of them have very detailed instructions on how to do that, and I would recommend following them. Yeah. I did not. I was no, let's do it. Let's just get it started. Let's go. But really, there is a whole anyone that has any marketing background. I did not. I learned on the fly. There is a time to build up kind of your list of people who you're sharing your messages with. And I had a large base of friends and family, and I just assumed that they would all kind of share. And they did. I mean, like I said, I went through 30 cities, and I didn't know, I would say 75% of those people were not necessarily people that I knew before I did the thing. So a lot was carried, there's a lot of energy to getting something started, and it's much easier if you can do that with support. So I would say get support in line, and don't try to do it all by yourself.
Absolutely.
You can go a lot farther when you have people with you.
Yeah, and it's been cool to hear different stories of people, you know, kind of going it themselves, but also, you know, acknowledging, like, even the people that, you know, built the game themselves have some sort of help. They have an artist, they have someone giving them feedback, they have lots of testers, so there's always someone helping you along the way, even always. If you're a solo person.
Well, and that's where I met you, actually. I had brought in a media team in South Bend, TJ21, to help me record the video for the Indiegogo campaign, and you were working for them at that time, and they've continued to support me throughout the game's journey by posting on my social media and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely there are people always. And the printer is Delano printer. They print a lot of board games in the United States, card game. They're full service. And they were fantastic working with my graphic designer. So they will give you the entire speculations, and it's a made in America project, or, you know, or a product company, if that matters. So, okay, thanks, Josh. He's got someone else coming on board. Sweet, that was awesome. Hey, Joe, what's up? How you doing? Joe was playing on the video when I saw it last week. It was awesome. So yeah, when you wait, hang on, where was I? We talked about Indiegogo. Oh, anyway, it's gone.
You're talking about Delano Board Games, working with Delano.
Oh, Delano, yes. So they will send you all of the steps how they need you to lay it out exactly, whether you have pieces that you need, manufactured. If there's a patent process, if you have any type of a piece that is unique, you would patent it. For mine, I went through the patent process, and I didn't need to patent it because mine is more of a copyright, because it's just words on page. So that is something that you want to look into if you have a physical thing that you're having them manufacture, like those little characters that you were talking about in that miniatures or whatever, or like the spinny thing in the middle of the wheel of life is a thing that can be patented because it's a thing, it's functional.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mousetrap game, it's functional. But otherwise you don't need a patent. You would just need to copyright material if you're making a game, and then you would need to trademark a logo, or like Cards Against Humanity has the image of the 2 white cards and the 1 black card. That's not a landmark. Trademark. That's a trademark image that you can't steal. And then I just used Creative Commons for our copywriting. So it wasn't anything that I paid for. If anybody wanted a copy of the game, I can send it to them and they can handle the printing. So the content is copywritten through them. And that means that anybody that wants access to it can have it from me. I don't make it available on the website. I haven't had anybody reach out to me for that. But because it costs probably as much to print this, it cost me, my initial prototype was $200 to have it printed out. And the game is only $35. So it's like,
Right.
Which one do I could print it off. And if you don't care about the coloration, the color or the design or the layout or any of that, then you can print it from home and have that content to play with, which would be like for schools and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot, and I'm happy to chat with anybody that would like more detailed information about the process. It was definitely a big learning process for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for dropping the link in the chat, Carlos. Appreciate that. Feel free to, for our audience, anyone in the Twitch chat, if you want to ask any questions about improv or game development, feel free to ask those. But we kind of covered a lot of ground in the process department, but I feel like it was kind of your general overview. What were your steps? What do you think, Julie, were your key steps in the development process? Like, if you had to pick like 3 to 5 things that you did to launch that game and kind of get the word out there, what were those things?
I would say market research, like actually going out and testing the game and making sure it works. So like you said, just start. Like I took the thing, I started, I took it out of my brain and put it into an Excel sheet, and then found somebody that could format it so that I could send it to a printer. That was the first process. That, though, between the time I had the game downloaded, I met with my mastermind team for feedback, adjusted, and got the stuff to the printer, got back from my graphic designer and then to the printer. That whole process was complete by December 5th. So it happened very quickly. So the first thing was like, make a decision to take action. And then I took massive action in a short amount of time. And then once I had a prototype, now I had something to go around and do market research with. And it was like as much feedback. I could have gone further, because then when I went to the Toy and Game Convention with Carlos, the following year, we went during Thanksgiving time. And then I got more feedback from like the Mattels and the Hasbros and the Milton Bradleys and all of that, like, and people that were in the fit. And I could probably, when I go to make another iteration of this game, I will likely make one for kids that'll be even simpler, and simplify. So 1, decide. 2, take massive action, like create the thing. And then 3, get tons and tons and tons of feedback.
That's awesome. What do you think were your like major hiccups along the way?
For me, it was, I still struggle with promotion. I mean, I'm in a naturally enrolling human being. I think people enjoy me. They like being around me. I'm easy to hang out with and have fun with. I don't love the sales part of things. So for me, anytime I'm asking people for money, I'm like, I don't love that. So that's, to this day, is like a challenge for me. But luckily I was part of a really great entrepreneurial mastermind group. And so when it came time to creating capital, I had people that believed in me and believed in my vision, and they were willing to fund the project. So finding capital, I didn't meet my Indiegogo numbers. Also, little tidbit: if you're gonna go with Indiegogo or Kickstarter, pitch low, start low.
Right.
I was like, what do I need to make this happen, to print all the copies I want? I need $10,000. So that's what I put on Indiegogo. I should have just put, I need like $50. I would have blown it out of the park and hit their algorithms and stuff. But that wasn't honest. I was like, no, let's be honest. So yeah, capital raising, and then now just getting the word out. But it's starting to happen now, actually, more organically. As evidenced by Joe and his theater. They did, it was such a great delight to see them play on, they shared their play with me from New Year's on the Improv Against Normality Facebook page. And then they reached out and they were like, we're going to make a YouTube on this. So I'm super excited for that. And I have a feeling more of that is going to be coming in, especially as we continue to shelter at home and all of that good stuff in the new year.
Absolutely. So I'd love to bring Joe and Carlos in for a couple of questions too. And so let's start with maybe Joe, since you're our newest guest here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your studio, and that question, and how you see gameplay fitting in with your, like, kind of your mission, if you will.
The studio, we started as just kind of we did some streaming things with bands and whatnot, and then when everything shut down, we were all theater people already. So we decided, what if we put some stuff together? And we ended up, like Julie said, we were playing the game over New Year's, and Josh had the brilliant idea of, hey, why don't we, reach out and, see if they would let us stream the game. And guys have been super accommodating. But we absolutely just love because we're all friends and we've all been working together for so long, doing so many different projects. We really get to bounce off of each other and do that sort of stuff. So we almost, like this game just as a getting to know you exercise, really, for everybody that's involved in the theater at this point. So, it's been an interesting startup, but all the feedback that we've gotten on, people watching us has been really great stuff. And we're just so grateful to be able to, be a part of this and get to play the game for other people to see. I hope more people get to play it, because it is some of the most fun I've ever had with a tabletop gaming experience. And I've been a tabletop game player for my entire life. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
I love that. I'm gonna have to get this recorded.
Right?
So,
testimonial.
Send me the recording so I have that.
Right, yeah. Hey, you wanna put a quote on the box? I'm your guy.
Yes. Yes.
And then Carlos, how about yourself? Why don't you let us know a little bit about kind of your background with improv, and like how you see gameplay kind of impacting your own life.
Okay. Well, first, I just want to say that when I was at the toy fair with Julie last year, one of the things she did was she gave everyone who was volunteering to help her out a Santa hat, and I got to use that this year again. So that's just the gift that keeps on giving. It's a really nice deluxe Santa hat too. But I like this game. Obviously this is a great training tool, especially it's a fun game for people who don't necessarily do improv. It's great like practice for people who are getting into improv, and it's also really cool just like as a brainstorming idea. I also write sketch too now and then, and sometimes you just like running on empty, and this is just just pick a couple of cards for inspiration on just throwing things randomly that don't necessarily go together is a great way to for comedy. So it's really good for the creative thought process. As far as improv, and I've been doing it for a number of years now. I started back in South Florida, and that's where I met Julie. And now I'm in Chicago, and of course the improv scene here, like in many other places, has basically gone to pretty much almost Zoom only, which is to say it's slowed down. And you've had some theaters closed, but that's just other theaters can rise in their place, and we're looking at the end of the tunnel. So things will probably start to slowly get back to normal, which is great. But yeah, I mean, this is a great, this is a fun game just to play with my other, improv friends, and just like on a Zoom night, what do we do tonight? Let's do this. It's a way to get our creative juices going when we can't really perform anywhere. Because performing on Zoom isn't necessarily the same as performing live. So next best thing,
Absolutely. No, there's definitely a lot of good takes from there, and I see Julie probably has something to add to that.
Well, I recently have been doing a lot more Zoom. I run these like 3-day events for people where I'm emceeing their kind of content or sales events or something where they get a bunch of entrepreneurs together and they're networking or what have you. Like we've done introductions over and over again. So people, just to break up kind of the monotony, will be like, okay, great, you're going to introduce yourself, but you're going to do it like, Batman or a fiction writer or a stage mom, Hulk. As Yoda or the Hulk, right? Like so it just gets people thinking outside of the box, and people that would be normally be very timid, reluctant to do that. If somehow when you give people permission to play, it opens up a whole different aspect of themselves.
Absolutely. Now I have one more question before we wrap up here. Which is kind of a big question, I guess, but like, how did you deal with like copyright stuff? So like you pulled up Batman, Hulk, and stuff like that. Did you have to ask permission for all that, or do you think you're in the clear for that?
I did research that online, and I'm not using any of their trademark. I'm just the name of a character is not copywritten. Yeah, okay. And it's because again, everyone's interpretation is going to be slightly different. Even like I have Tiny Tim on one of mine, and that could be like from the Scrooge, I can't think of his name, the actual writer, but the Dickens, right? Charles Dickens fable, or it could be the Tiptoe Through the Tulips guy, and I've had, or anything else. It could just be like, I just named Carlos Timmy in the last scene, could be Tim the Toolman Taylor, there's so many different things that people can do with it. So a word is not copywritten. If I had taken, now this was something as I was looking into creating a children's version of it, because or like a pre-verbal version of it, I wanted to have images like artwork on the cards instead of words. And I ran into all kinds of problems with like Disney princesses and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, never mind, words are fine. I won't make the kids version yet. The pre-verbal one, that's outside of my scope of practice right now. Plus, games for anything younger than 12 have different rules in the production of them, and you have to be more stringent. There's just more hurdles you have to jump through. So I just, even on Amazon, the game itself says ages 12 and up, and that has to do not with that people under 12 people under 12 can't play it. I've had 5-year-olds play, as long as you can read, you can play it. But if I was going to market like younger than 12, there's different rules in the production aspect of things.
For sure. Well, I love hearing what everyone has had to say, and I definitely encourage any of our viewers to go, check out Carlos's podcast, check out the Joe and Josh's theater. And
that's the Remnants, right? The Remnants.
Yes.
Yes. Remrack. And then locally, one of my team members who was not able to join us here tonight, Steve Frito, has written a book on improv. It's on Amazon, and I'm so bad and wrong because I don't remember the name of it, but I will remember it. And when I play this watch party on Friday, so those of you who are not watching this live Twitch right now, but you're watching it on Facebook on a watch party with me on Friday, you'll have all of the notes for everybody's stuff will be in the chat, in the comments below. So Steve Frito was pivotal, though. He runs GoProv at the Goshen Art House in Goshen, Indiana. And he was there with Carlos and I. He's been on many of these lives that we've done on Facebook. He hosted the first, inaugural premiere performance of Improv Against Normality in a live improv show back when that was a thing that we did. And so he's just been pivotal, and he was my improv brother in Indiana. So I definitely recommend for those, because I know a lot of your audience is in South Bend area. And so if folks like improv, you can go play with Steve in Goshen and definitely get the game down there too. He's got copies.
Absolutely. And I'll make sure to drop the links in the description when we put it on YouTube as well. Perfect. If you want to send me those later. But yeah, no, I've definitely heard a lot of great things tonight, and I love hearing, Joe's story of tabletop gaming. How this game specifically, Improv Against Normality, is kind of expanded upon that, because it's so different, and it's great what people, sometimes when we're creating, we think, oh, somebody's already created this, but we all have our own take on that, and that's kind of the beauty of creating and improv, right? Is that we all have kind of a story to tell. So if we can participate in a comedy show that's just a little bit different, we might have some more laughs to share. So I'm definitely thankful for all of you for being here tonight. Thankful for the audience. Be sure to tune in for our next show, which will be announced on our website and socials. So if you go to pwrupsb.com, so that's Power Up South Bend without most of the vowels, then you'll find the activities section, and we've got all of our streams there. We hope to incorporate some of these activities into game nights locally or digitally through our Discord for anyone who wants to join. And then hopefully have everyone for a convention once the vaccination process and health departments tell us we can get out and get back to socializing. I wouldn't say normal because we're against normality right now.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Learn, adapt, and overcome.
Yes.
Improv. Create your life. Create joy. Create laughs. And have a good night, everyone. Thanks again.
Good night, everyone. Thanks, Brian.
Absolutely.